Okay, I'm back. Next topic. Guess who is the latest official in the crosshairs of the toilet rat? Yes, indeed. New York Attorney General Letitia James, who provided absolutely perfect representation for the people of New York, as she is charged to do, in her criminal cases against the filthy toilet rat. Well, the toilet rat has come up with something called a criminal referral. Criminal referral. Now, that sounds very serious, but even though it has been issued, I guess, by Trump's little fucked up Justice Department, it doesn't force prosecutors to file charges against anyone. Criminal referral. But the New York Attorney General, Letitia James, could have reason to worry about the toilet rat's administration's official pushing for her to face federal charges, even though she didn't break any fucking law. This is what a dictator does. This is what a terrorist does. And if anything, Trump is a fucking terrorist. You do understand that, don't you? Huh? Good. Now, according to, I think it was MSNBC, the cause for concern on the part of the Attorney General's part comes from the general nature of the criminal system, as well as the specific nature of how the toilet rat's Justice Department uses the law on his behalf like a fucking sledgehammer against people who, well, she hurt my feelings. I had to sit in court, and they said I was farting while I was sitting at the defense table. You could say safely that Trump's entire fucking second term, his entire life, has been a provocation against the law, every law. Now, Miss James, of course, she's the one that led the office that secured the massive civil fraud ruling against Trump and some others last year. Of course, it's on appeal. You know, this is the Trump MO. Doesn't matter what happens. If you're found guilty of murder, appeal it. If you're found guilty of a parking ticket, appeal it. Appeal it. Delay. But here's the problem with the toilet rat back in office. It was his federal housing director who wrote the so-called criminal referral letter about Miss James to Trump's little blonde bimbo who thinks she is the Attorney General, Pam Bondi, and to one of the people who defended Trump, Todd Blanche, who's now the Deputy Attorney General, that crazy fucker. And Todd Blanche personally defended the toilet rat in both his impeachment trial and his criminal cases, right? So, the federal housing director, a little putz called William Pulte, he wrote this, quote, based on media reports, Miss Letitia James has, in multiple instances, falsified bank documents and property records to acquire government-backed assistance and loans at more favorable loan terms, end quote. Now, this little shit listed several statutes that he said Miss James could have violated, not did, could have. Well, fuck, I could have killed Abraham Lincoln, but I didn't. She could have violated these statutes, and he wants the asshole Pam Bondi to consider criminal prosecution. We'll get you, bitch. Oh, boy, will we get you. Now, Letitia James' spokesperson said, quote, she's focused every single day on protecting New Yorkers, especially as this administration weaponizes the federal government against the rule of law and the Constitution. She will not be intimidated by bullies, no matter who they are. End quote. Well, seriously, would we expect anything other than that as a response to this horse shit this criminal referral? Of course we wouldn't. This is Letitia James. This is a district attorney or attorney general who, when threatened with some little fat white punk ass like Donald Trump, well, she just ignores him. Go away, bug. Go away, bug, go away. Now, it's a good thing not to be intimidated by bullies, and Letitia James certainly has made that evident. It's in her statements, it's in her behavior, it's in the way she conducted her office. But given the weaponization that her statement from her spokesperson acknowledged, there is reason to assume that any potential case against her will be dispassionately looked at by the Justice Department? That's a trick question. Oh, Jesus Christ. Now, the article says that, there are so many examples in the early days of the toilet rat second term of this kind of shit, this kind of little grubby little shit that his robots are so eager and willing to perform, like Pam Bondi, like Ketchup Patel, like J.D. Vance, all these people. Oh, yeah, look at me. I'm doing what you told me to do, boss. Can I kiss your feet? No. Oh, well, can I? Yeah. But there are too many to mention on this podcast. But take a look at how Pam Bondi's Donald Trump's Justice Department handled the New York Mayor Eric Adams's corruption case. Yeah, they tried to put old Mayor Eric Adams, who's guilty as sin, on a meat hook. Right? Just put him up there on the meat hook, right? And then we can come in and slice off a piece whenever we're hungry. That's about what it amounted to. And, of course, the judge, who was it, Boasberg, or one of the judges said, fuck you, Trump. Well, he didn't say that, but and dismissed the charges, which is what the Trump administration wanted. But the Trump administration wanted the charges dismissed without prejudice. And the judge said, fuck you, and dismissed it with prejudice. So the meat hook all of a sudden turned into a Frisbee or something. It was no longer a meat hook for Mayor Eric Adams. So the federal trial judge in D.C. blasted this behavior. According to the judge, and this is evident every time we look around, the toilet rat has attempted to use his power to get punishment against the law firms. I talked about that yesterday, and the individuals who had the temerity to try to uphold the law where it concerned his decadent ass. The second turn of this toilet rat has been an attempt to destroy the rule of law in this country altogether. There's no doubt about this. Oh. Now, let's assume, for the sake of argument, that Miss James is completely innocent. Which, by the way, I mean, speaking from a legal standpoint, which I've been advised to do, to prove that somebody's completely innocent is something that can't be fully assessed without first you got to take a look at the charges that are going to come, if they come at all, in this criminal referral. Now, this little fucker in the housing department who sucks up to Trump, William Pulte, he said she falsified bank documents and property records to acquire government-backed loans and shit. And, she could have violated the law. This is the kind of garbage they always say, of course. But if Miss James is charged in such a scenario, she couldn't take any comfort in the possibility of eventually getting the charges dismissed by a judge or being acquitted by a jury. That answer, that cliche that says, what do you have to worry about if you're innocent? Well, that has a lot of appeal, but in these kinds of situations, it completely ignores reality. Because when the power of the toilet rat is leveled against you, that's going to result in great personal and financial costs along the way. Even if this, if it goes to trial or in front of a judge, even when Letitia James is found totally fucking innocent of anything, and that Trump is one more example of his filthy fucking determination to make people suffer who tried to enforce the law, well, even if she's vindicated, which she would be, of these bullshit charges, she will have had to go through the fire that only the toilet rat knows how to ignite. This is what he's done his entire useless life. Hi, Truth Seekers. Mike Malloy here. The Progressive Voices Network brings you commercial-free commentary from today's leading progressive radio hosts and pundits, like me, Mike Malloy, 24 hours a day. I'm not your typical old guy from the 80s or the 90s talk radio host, and Progressive Voices is not your typical talk radio network. It's a listener-supported nonprofit with no corporate control whatsoever over our broadcast. So hosts like me, Mike Malloy, are free to rant and scream and carry on about whatever we like. We're often controversial, but we're never boring. Weeknights, 9 p.m. in the East, 6 p.m. in the West on the Progressive Voices Network. Always progressive, always on. I'm Mike Malloy. Keep it lit.